Dera Sacha Sauda chief and rape convict Ram Rahim is out on parole, this time for 50 days. He was last out on furlough in November 2023 for 21 days. So in a matter of less than, say, around 45 days, Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh, convicted in cases of rape and linked to murder of a manager and a journalist, is out again. Within 3 hours of being out of jail, this is his first video message.
प्यारे साथ संगत जियो, सबसे पहले तो आपकी सेवा में हाजिर हो गए हैं आपके दर्शनों के लिए। और दूसरी बात जो हर बार कहते हैं कि आपने यूपी में नहीं आना, जैसे सेवादार जिम्मेवार आपको बताएंगे वहीं रह के खुशियां मनानी है। राम जी का भी पर्व मनाया जा रहा है, तो आप सब भी उस पर्व में शामिल हुए, क्योंकि हम सारे उस राम जी की संतान हैं। तो उस पर्व को एक दीपावली की तरह मनाया जाए, जैसे कि सारे मना रहे हैं, तो उसमें भी आप लोग शामिल हों।
What are the cases against Gurmeet Ram Rahim? What has he been convicted for? 20 years sentence for rape and 2 life imprisonments in 2 different murder cases. He has been out on parole and furloughs 9 times in last 4 years, including the current one. This is what the Haryana Minister Ranjit Singh has said about him being out on parole.
तो इन्होंने डिवीजन हमें एप्लीकेशन मूव करी, हमने डिवीजनल कमिश्नर को रेफर कर दी, उन्होंने पैरोल दे दी। डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट ने उससे बॉन्ड बनवा के साइन करके हम पे ऑर्डर की कॉपी भेज दी कि आप इन्हें रिलीज, हम उसे रोक ही नहीं सकते। एज पर लॉ, एज पर रूल जो जेल का है, मैनुअल है, उस हिसाब से हमें रिलीज करना पड़ता है। तो आज 5:30 बजे हमने रिलीज कर दी।
And I'm being joined right now by Pratik Som, who's a Supreme Court advocate and the national spokesperson for JJP, that is an alliance with the government in Haryana. Binay Singh, BJP leader. Nirmal Kaur, former IPS officer, and advocate Kapil Madan, who's a political analyst, will be backing the Congress. And Avishankar Singhvi, Supreme Court advocate. I'm also going to be joined by Anshul Chhatrapati, who is the son of the journalist Ramchandra Chhatrapati, who was murdered, and Ram Rahim is also convicted in a case regarding this. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. Well, first to you, Mr. Pratik Som, what would your response be? Could you tell us on what grounds is Ram Rahim out on parole this time?
See, first let me correct your channel. He's out for the 9th time in 4 years, not in 3 years. Now coming on the controversy on which we are discussing. See, parole is all very much in the constitutional framework that has been ratified by Supreme Court on various occasions, and it is a part of conditional freedom. Of course, there are reasonable restrictions which every prisoner or every convict is entitled for. See, there are objectives when a parole
sir,
is
just
granted.
one thing. Do we know on what grounds is he out this time? We are not clear about that. So can we just, would you know on what grounds is he out this time?
See, the grounds for this can be where parole operates as a part of a right of a prisoner or a convict. If a jail authority, as per the prison manual, thinks that the convict or a prisoner is behaving in a proper manner, and he can apply for parole. And if the government thinks, if the jail superintendent thinks that he can be enlarged on parole, then there is no legal bar to this. Even Supreme Court in Poonam Lata and versus ML Vadavan case, they says that release on parole is a wing of a reformative process. Even the state has certain duties to perform. It is an agreeable point that he is a convict with a heinous offense of a rape, but he also has a certain rights within which he can apply, and state will operate on the role which the constitution gives, and even the Supreme Court ratifies. So he is exercising his right, and
we will come to that, Mr. Pratik Som. But Mr. Pratik Som, do you know the grounds on which he has been released this time on parole? Do you know the reason?
See, madam, I'm telling you that it is part of his right. There are no specific grounds or reasons for which he needs to apply.
Sir, you also would know.
When it is
fair enough. Okay, let me just get in. Nirmal Kaur, you've made your point, and I have completely heard you on this. Ms. Nirmal Kaur, if you could just come in and tell us, is it just good behavior that calls for a reason for furlough as well as parole? Or is it even more than that? There has to be reasonable reasons, particularly in what is being seen as hardcore convicts. In this case, he is a rape convict as well as a convict for murder, 2 murders. So is it just good behavior, or is it beyond that as well? There has to be reasonable grounds. There has to be the appropriate reason for it.
See, there is equality before law is a very important precept. Justice is not only to be done, it is also seen to be done. Under Section 432 of CRPC, furlough and parole, they are both kind of, defined and allowed. Furlough is kind of, a right. Parole is not. Parole is more of a discretion under Section 432 of CRPC. So how, the administration,
so it's a discretion.
Wisdom have done it. That is for them to see the details of the case and all. But definitely he's in jail for heinous crimes.
Very important point you are making. But ma'am, before I go further, just another question. This is a parole which is coming within 45 days of him being, of spending just about 45 days in jail. November 21st, he was out on a furlough for 21 days. November 23rd for 21 days. He spends another around 45 days jail plus in jail, and he's back out on parole. Is this the right message?
I think if I'm not wrong, he's out for the 7th time in 2 years on parole, and the paroles are very frequent and long.
Ma'am, he's out for 9th time in 4 years.
Okay, 7th in 2 years is what I kind of read somewhere. They had done some listing. That is my information from the media. So his, it is a parole, this kind of frequent parole, and for a cause to be improving the society, for rehabilitation. There are lots of, good idealistic things being said, for theory of parole. But also one has to see what the individual is like, and the kind of, they say he has some organization defense or something where he takes people out of drug addiction, or, there are lots of these social reform works like that, in which sometimes, they are
irrespective of the crimes that he has been convicted of, including rape and 2 murders.
And also both of them in a very fiduciary, jahan rakshak hi bakshak ho jata hai. 2 of the girls who were raped were his disciples. They were devotees of the thing. And again, the people murdered, one was a manager and one was again, I think a manager of the ashram or whatever outfit he runs, the spiritual outfit so-called. So they were both in a position where you are in a fiduciary position. Ji.
Absolutely. Do we have Mr. Binay Singh with us right now? All right. I think we've lost line with BJP leader Binay Singh. I would like to get him back as well. He's in it's the BJP and the JJP that is in government in Haryana. But while I get back to Mr. Binay Singh, you just heard a top cop right now speak, a former top cop right now speak, that parole is discretion. Follow is a right, but parole is a discretion. And there are a lot of administrative reasons for why it might just be given. Just about 45 days in jail, sir. Just about 45 days in jail. Before the last furlough, he's out on parole again. 9 times in 4 years, sir. A person who has been convicted of murder, 2 murders, and a case of rape. How do you justify this?
No, it's not a matter of justifying and not justifying. It's a technical thing. I think it's a technical matter, and I agree with Ma'am Kaur that yes, whether it is right or it is discretion, both are guided by a set of laws. And without analyzing the papers or without visualizing the papers, what are the reasons behind that, and how he has got the parole, I think it would be very improper to comment on. But yes, if he is in, there is a law because he is in, and if he is out on parole, that is also guided by a certain set of laws. And I think without looking at that or in-depth analysis of that, it's very inappropriate to comment on that.
Sir, let me just get in Anshul Chhatrapati at this time. He is the son of the journalist Ramchandra Chhatrapati, who was killed, and the case in which Ram Rahim is a convict. Mr. Anshul Chhatrapati, what do you have to say when you hear of this case, of him coming out on parole again for 50 days, 9th time in 4 years? What do you have to say?
Ma'am, if you don't mind, I am compelled in Hindi.
जी जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल अंशुल जी, बोलिए बोलिए, आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं अभी?
मैं सबसे पहले तो यही कहूंगा कि जिस तरीके से 4 सजा भुगत रहा है गुरमीत राम रहीम, और पिछले लंबे अरसे से जब से ये मामले जो है अंडर इन्वेस्टिगेशन थे, उसके बाद अंडर ट्रायल थे, और पूरे के पूरे लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को जिस तरीके से गुरमीत राम रहीम ने उसका तमाशा बनाया, और इवन जब वर्डिक्ट आया 25 अगस्त 2017 को, फर्स्ट टाइम वर्डिक्ट आया रेप के मामले में, और उस वक्त क्या क्या मंजर देखा पूरे हरियाणा, पंजाब, दिल्ली के अंदर 3 स्टेट्स में, जिस तरीके से पब्लिक प्रॉपर्टी का नुकसान किया गया, तो उसके बाद लगातार गुरमीत राम रहीम को जेल की सलाखों के पीछे जाने के बाद जिस तरीके से वो छटपटाता रहा जेल से बाहर आने के लिए, और लगातार एप्लीकेशंस लगाई गई, और उन एप्लीकेशंस के बिहाफ पर जब जो स्टेट मशीनरी है उसने लगातार रिपोर्ट्स की और लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का हवाला दिया, और वो एप्लीकेशंस जो हैं वो डिसमिस होती गई, रिजेक्ट होती गई, तो उसको पैरोल नहीं मिल पाया जब उन ग्राउंड्स पे। और उसमें मैं जिक्र करूंगा द हरियाणा गुड कंडक्ट प्रिजनर टेम्परेरी रिलीज एक्ट का, जिसमें कई तरह के क्लॉज के अंदर ये हवाला दिया गया था कि जो हैबिचुअल ऑफेंडर है या जो हार्डकोर क्रिमिनल है, उसके लिए किन किन नियमों और शर्तों का पालन किया जाना चाहिए। जब गुरमीत राम रहीम जो है उस एक्ट के अंदर उन शर्तों को फॉल नहीं कर पा रहा था उनके अंदर, तो उसके बाद हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट ने अप्रैल 2022 में एक अमेंडमेंट किया इस एक्ट के अंदर, और उस एक्ट में पहले ये हवाला दिया जाता था कि आपको अगर पैरोल चाहिए तो उसके लिए रीजंस देने पड़ेंगे। आपको एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड की कास्ट करने के लिए पैरोल चाहिए, या आपके फैमिली में कोई क्लोज ब्लड रिलेशंस में कोई डेथ है या मैरिज है, जिन रीजंस को लेकर एक प्रिजनर जो है वो अप्लाई कर सकता था। जब राम रहीम इन सब में फॉल नहीं कर रहा था, तो हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट ने इन शर्तों को उस एक्ट में से हटा दिया, और उसके बाद राम रहीम के लिए रास्ता साफ कर दिया गया। तो हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट इस तरह के भी कानूनों
सर, मुझे प्रतीक सोम को लेके आने दीजिए। प्रतीक सोम, here's a victim of the family that Ram Rahim is, the case in which Ram Rahim is convicted. This is the son of the victim, the son of the journalist who was killed. You are hearing the allegations of the son. What do you have to respond?
I have my all deepest sympathies with Mr. Chhatrapati. See, Sneha, we can do media trial as much as we want. We have to face the reality that
No, this is not media trial. No. I am not going to get into this. This is not media trial. This is not media trial. If it was media trial, I would have called you, sir.
Sneha, if you want my opinion, let me speak. Yes. See, Ram Rahim is paying for his deeds. He is being convicted by a court of law. He is a convict for a life term. That position will remain. Now, the present day situation is that not only Ram Rahim, each and every prisoner in India has a right oblique a discretion of authority where he can take a parole or a furlough. Now, there are negative parameters for not giving a furlough. That is that the conduct of a prisoner is not good. That is, he has violated or jumped conditions in the previous furlough. Ram Rahim has not done this. Now he has been given 50 days furlough. I accept this fact. That is the position as of now. But he is operating within the constitutional framework, and it is a conditional release. It is not that he has come out and he will not go back. But when the constitutional framework allows, when the Supreme Court in Premlata judgment has ratified this position, Haryana government is operating within this framework. Now, if we want to go into the emotional semantics, even I am not even I am not supporting this. Whatever he has done, he's paying the deeds. He's a convicted prisoner.
No,
he's a convicted man. I am on this position now.
Pratik, I get your point. I understand it is allowed in law. But as the former top cop, Nirmal Kaur, has made it very clear that this is also about the messaging that is going out. It's about everybody being equal. Is everybody in Haryana, every convict coming out of jail every 45 days, is coming out of jail 9 times in 4 years? Is that the record for every hardcore convict in Haryana, sir? The family, Anshul, is now alleging political patronage. That's a very different and strong allegation, sir. And you have made some points. I've heard you very patiently. Mr. Kapil Madan hasn't responded till now. Kapil Madan, what do you say?
So let me first respond to Mr.
You're representing the Congress, but Congress did not send a guest.
No, let me start and first meet the point made by Mr. Som, and he mentioned that it is happening under the constitutional framework. So I will just remind Mr. Som and to our viewers here, recently there was a judgment passed in Bilkis Banu's case where one could have argued that they were released under the constitutional framework, but it was the Supreme Court that noted that there was a fraud that was played by the convicts who were released. And in fact, the state was also helping and the state also colluded. And I was also hearing Mr. Anshul here, and he has made a very shocking revelation that in fact the provisions of the laws were changed so as to enable a person like Ram Rahim, who is making the mockery of the court and coming and taking parole one after the other. Now, my second point is that one thing is that there is a power that allows any authority to grant the parole, but on what basis? There should be some rational, logical basis on which you will exercise these powers. If you will give paroles like this, then I think the entire then you don't need jails. Then every hardened criminal should be treated alike, and he should be allowed to take parole in the manner, in the frequency in which Ram Rahim is getting. Now, I'll tell you another very important point which has missed everyone's attention. Now, Ram Rahim is also facing another case wherein the allegations are that he castrated his followers and people who were following him. Now, that trial is on. So once you are giving parole to someone who's convicted for an offense of murder, who's convicted for an offense of rape, and he is facing another trial, there is also possibility that once the person is out on parole, he might influence the trial which is yet to conclude, which is in which the witnesses have to yet to depose.
I get your point, but anyways, that is a case. Anyways, that's a case that is under trial, so I will not make any comments on that. I will not. I get your point, and I totally get your point. What you're trying to make, fair enough, sir. Fair enough. Let me just get in Miss Nirmal Kaur on this. Miss Nirmal Kaur, and if you can just play those visuals, what has happened in the past times when he has come? We've had him celebrate. We've had him cut the massive cake. We've had him part of satsangs. We've had politicians part of his satsangs. After he's been convicted and he's come out on payrolls or furloughs. This is the kind of optics that is being played out. Yes, this is really what we are seeing in terms of the visuals that emerge. Today he's coming out and there seems to be a message that he's given out again within just 3 hours of coming out of jail on his parole. Is this how things are supposed to be done in India, ma'am? Is this justice? Is this fair? Legally, is this fair?
Definitely, the courts are applying their minds, and the special court of CBI convicted him of the 2 rapes, and he's been convicted 4 times over. So the courts must have seen some evidence against him, otherwise they wouldn't convict him in the prevailing circumstance, in the ecosystem that prevails. So now he's coming out ever so often and, seemingly all powerful, like a leader and a spiritual leader, with his band of followers willing to follow him till the end of hell. So that kind of messaging definitely one gets from these messages and the kind of media hype around him. So I think it needs, this kind of spirituality, I don't know what is spirituality. If this is spirituality or religion, this is very different from the religion or spirituality which normally prevails, eternally. ever, in Sanatan, which ever goes on, generation after generation for thousands of years. This kind of behavior cannot be tenable. It cannot be, and somehow it is happening around us, and the reasons have to be documented. I don't know, the courts must have, or the authorities.
Mr. Pratik Singh, Mr. Pratik Som,
documented.
Mr. Pratik Som, this is not a media trial, and I'm vehemently opposing what you tried to say. My show and what we are doing here at Mirror Now is not a media trial. I have to make that very clear because you made that statement when you were responding. I will not take that because you are here for your voice. There's another BJP speaker here and we have a senior cop here. I am not making my opinions public here. I will not go by that. Secondly, kindly respond to what a former top police official is saying. It's not a media trial. She is a senior police officer who knows the legalities of it all. Kindly respond to her. Don't fire the bullet of media trial here, please.
Sneha, respecting your sentiments on this show, I want to mention one point.
There are no sentiments. All I am saying is this is not media trial. This is not sentiments, sir.
Okay. Sneha, in whose government was Mr. Ram Rahim charged with these offences and got convicted? It was BJP government and then subsequently BJP-JJP government. This proves the point that the state and the government is bringing the person to book if he has done any kind of offense, whether he's Ram Rahim or whether he's any other person. Now, my point, again, I'm reiterating for the third time, that when a prisoner or a convict wants to exercise his right oblique his discretion, which can be granted by the jail authorities, he can do so. Ram Rahim is not the only person who has got a furlough on parole in Haryana. There are many other persons. Maybe they are not famous. That is why we are not discussing it over here. But he is not violating the conditions. He is maintaining the good conduct.
आप दावे से कह सकते हैं, can you give us a guarantee that every single rape convict, every single murderer has been given furloughs like this gentleman has been?
I agree to that point that he is a rape convict.
No, that's
I am not supporting him. But I am saying that one day, if Haryana government goes beyond rules and just on the semantics dismisses application, then we will be debating on this point, that why a person is deprived of his rights, of something which others are getting, which he is not getting. If he is violate the rights, if he is violate the conditions, then there is an occasion to discuss on this point.
Fair enough. Pratik Som, I'm totally out of time. Just 30 seconds each. Anshul, 30 seconds mein aap kya bolna chahte hain? And after that, if Nirbal Kaur ji can also give me 30 seconds of what she wants to say, 30 seconds each to both of you. Anshul ji, आप 30 seconds में क्या बोलना चाहेंगे? Last, आप क्या बोलना चाहेंगे जब राम रहीम अभी पैरोल से निकल गए हैं?
सबसे पहले तो मैं यही कहूंगा कि ये जो अभी बात की, एक वक्ता ने कहा कि बाहर आकर के चैरिटी के काम करते हैं और इस तरह की बातें कुछ की गई, तो कोई भी व्यक्ति अगर कोई चैरिटी का काम करता है तो उसे रेप करने का या मर्डर करने का लाइसेंस नहीं मिल जाता। और दूसरी बात, अगर उसने रेप और मर्डर किया है तो कोर्ट ने उसके खिलाफ वर्डिक्ट दिया है, लेकिन आज हमारे जो स्टेट मशीनरी है वो अपने काम को सही ढंग से नहीं कर रही है, और उसको जिस तरीके से मतलब एक मैं उसको ये कहूंगा कि वो हैबिचुअल ऑफेंडर है, लगातार उसने कई सारे क्राइम्स किए हैं, और ऐसे व्यक्ति की जगह जेल के अलावा कुछ नहीं चाहिए।
ओके जी, I'm really sorry, we are totally out of time. Thank you everyone to bring in your perspectives. Again, I'm reiterating, I'm against any form of media trial, but what we are trying to understand is what is law, what is the right messaging, and what should be happening in India. Thank you very much for joining us. Time for a short break. On the other side, more updates.